All right, welcome back, students. In this lesson, we're going to cover 1-4. This is midpoints and bisectors. Give me just a second. I'm going to shut my office door. Stand by. Okay, sorry. I don't want the little ones to come running in the middle of the video. While I'm thinking about it, and I've been thinking about adding extra credit to the videos for you guys that may or may not listen. So if you are listening, and you send me a message in Focus that I had to get up and shut the door at the beginning of the video for 1-4, I will give you 5 extra points toward a test this quarter. I would say Module 1, but you may not need it for Module 1. So send me a message, say, I heard you had to shut your door, and I will put that note into Focus so when we take our first test next Wednesday, you're already 5 points in the good. Okay. Anyway, let's get moving here. Try to move the microphone closer. All right, so guided notes, lesson 1.4, midpoints and bisectors. And I keep talking about class versus not. This video or these videos will be set up for you guys that miss class, but I may refer back to. So one thing I mentioned in class, the word bisector. And what that means is to cut something into 2 equal pieces. And I mention that because geometry loves to say bisector instead of cutting something in half. So, I apologize, my voice is a little rough this evening. So, going forward, the word bisector means to cut into 2 equal pieces because we're going to have math problems. And you guys are going to be, what is he talking about? And the secret is going to be that word. So just prepare yourselves mentally now. All right, midpoints, obviously. The middle point, the point in the middle. The standards for this lesson, GR 3.3. I can use coordinate geometry to identify the midpoint of a line segment, and GR 5.2, I can identify the steps to constructing a bisector of a line segment. So we're going to kind of touch on that on the back page. This is more of an in-person thing. I am going to post a video more fully of constructions, like, point A to point Z. And I'm hoping, I'll get everybody to watch the video, and then we're going to kind of talk about it because the test is going to have a couple of questions that are going to be in reference to using the compass and constructing something. So, but it has to do with the steps. So while I want you to know how to do it, I want you to be able to analyze the steps. And when I do my video for the actual review, I'll kind of touch on that again. So let me get off my soapbox. Otherwise, this video is going to be long. I'm going to fill in the words really quick so you guys can fill this in and you can kind of listen to me or tune me out, whatever you're into. Let's see. I'm going to leave one blank only for the purpose of talking. So, key vocabulary. I'm going to skip down here and then go back up here. The midpoint of a segment is the point midway between the endpoints of a segment. The midpoint separates the segment into 2 equal segments. So if something is equal, the ratio is going to be, I hope you're saying to yourself wherever you're at, 1-to-1. If something is in half, then both sides are the same, which would be 1-to-1. All right, looking above here. So now we're talking about the formula. Formula on a number line. Your far left is going to be your x1. Your far right is going to be your x2. The midpoint is going to be those 2 numbers divided by 2 because that's taking what's in the middle. Now I want you guys to notice the previous lesson we did 1.3, we had m plus n. Well, if our ratio is 1-to-1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's why the midpoint will always be divided by 2. Bring this up because in class, a lot of folks were like, where did you get the 2? Where's the m and the n? The m and n in this point are 1-to-1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Midpoint on coordinate plane. The only thing that's different is we have some y's. So it's really the change in x divided by the change in y. Or the x of 1, x of 2. I'm sorry. the x sub 1 plus the x sub 2 divided by 2, and the same thing for the y's. Notice here, the left point, or P, is your x1, y1. Your Q is your x2, y2. The midpoint, they have it marked as M. Now, I want to do something here because we kind of, I noticed some confusion in class, and this was my way of alleviating that. So we're going to call the midpoint MX and MY. And I'm sorry it's kind of big, but because that's how we're going to do it down here. So x sub 1, x sub 2, I'm sorry, x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2, and your middle is m sub x, y sub x. Talked about the vocabulary, talked about that. So let's move on down here. All right, so example 1. Now on the left here, so we have two ways we can do this. You can count, or we can do the math, and we're going to do both. So if you want to find the midpoint between 2 points on a number line, you're going to add how many points is in between, and then divide that by 2, or take half of it. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So from here to here, is 11. All right, so half of 11 is 5.5. So we can take this and count from here. Notice these are whole numbers, so a half's going to be in the middle. So if I count 5, so I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In between would be half, so 2.5. Let's count this way. Should be the same because remember it's in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. So in the middle. So 2.5. All right, let me change. Let me change this. Okay, so let's do the math. Oh, okay. All right, so again, your x sub 1 is 3. X sub 2 is 8. So you go -3, so x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2. All right, so -3 plus +8 is going to be +5 over 2. Well, +5 over 2, sorry about I don't know why we have such trouble, and I apologize, guys. I'm going to see if I can find the IT guy. All right, so 5/2 is also 2.5, which is up here 2.5. All right, so you guys, you can either count, so count between these 2 points, and then whatever half of that is, go there, and or all right, and then just to write the formula. Oops. So it's x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2. All right, moving down. Now, example 3, we're using the coordinates of M. Find the coordinates of M, so that's the midpoint of AB. So A, and then they give us B. So what we're looking at is A, M, B. Now, it may look a little different because of the coordinates, but it's still aligned with these 3 points. A is -2, 1. We're looking for this. And then our B is 8, 3. A is x sub 1, y sub 1. B is x2, y2. And this would be mx, my, but in this case, it's just going to be m equals x1 plus x2, y1 plus y2. So it's set up like this, but I show you this because we're going to separate, because down here we're going to be given the midpoint and one of the endpoints, and we're going to have to find the other endpoint. So we're going to have to deconstruct these equations. So that's why I write it this way. So for those of y'all maybe tuning in from other classes, or you weren't there today and you're like, what is he talking about? All right, so now let's plug in what we've got. So x1 is -2 plus x2, oh, I forgot to write that, is 8 over 2. Y's 1 plus 3 over 2. All right, so negative 2 plus positive 8 is positive 6. So it's like 8 subtract 2. So positive 6 over 2. 1 plus 3 is 4 over 2. So when we can reduce these, so 6 over 2, or if you just take the calculator, 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So our midpoint is 3, 2. This would be our mx. This would be our my. All right. Same thing over here. A is your x1, y1, x2, y2. We're looking for b, which is the midpoint. We're going to use this formula, plug in these numbers, divide by 2, and do it the same way. So I know you can do it. All right, let me move down to the bottom of the page. All right, example 4. Find the coordinates of A if P, 3 and 1/2, is the midpoint of AB. And B's coordinates are 8, 3. Okay, so what we have here, we have A, P, B, where P is the midpoint and it's 3. Notice this is a half. You can keep the fraction or you can call it a decimal. I like the decimal because when I go to use the calculator, which is what I want you guys doing, I appreciate the mental math. I appreciate the writing everything out and doing it in your head or doing it on paper. Guys, we're in geometry. We're in high school. I want you to use the calculator. And the calculator, if you click 1 divided by 2, which is 1/2, it's going to give you that. So we're skipping a step and making it easier for the calculator. I'm off my soapbox again. So B, 8, 3. A is question mark, comma, question mark. So underneath, this is your m of x. This is your m of y. This is your x2. This is your y2. We're looking for x1, y1. As I write it, I'm just going to say xy because we're going to have this. So the formula is the same as up here. So I'm not going to rewrite that. I'm going to hope you guys are following along. Well, no, actually I am going to rewrite it. So over here it's going to be m of x, because remember this was 2 formulas in one. So m of x is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. M of y is y1 plus y1 plus y2 divided by 2. I'm going to just scooch down because I know I'm going to go over the line here. So let's plug in. So m of x is 3 equals x of 1 we don't know, so we're going to call it x, plus x of 2 is 8 divided by 2. Over here, m of y is 1/2, or 0.5. Y we don't know. And y sub 2 is 3 divided by 2. All right, now I'm going to just keep doing different colors here to make it easier. So x plus 8 over 2 is the same thing as x plus 8 divided by 2. So if we want to get x by itself, the first thing we got to do is get rid of the fraction, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 2 once. So 1 over 1, so you're left with just this. So down here, x plus 8. Sorry, I'm kind of into my stuff there. I'm watching the screen instead of watching the paper, but it's necessary. 2 times 3 is 6. Over here, multiplying both sides by 2. Cancels. We have y plus 3, and then we multiply both sides by 2. And if you were in third period or third block today, I apologize because we multiplied one side by 2 and not the other, because I was so worried about you guys with this fraction and I blew everybody's mind and everybody was confused and I was confused. So yeah, we multiply both sides by 2. Over here it cancels. Over here, 2 times 1/2. So 2 times 1/2 is 1. So now we're just going to work it from here. 6 equals x plus 8. Subtract the 8 from both sides. These cancel. 6 minus 8 is -2. So my x coordinate is -2. Over here, I'm just going to switch colors. 1 equals y plus 3. Subtract 3, subtract 3. These cancel. Y equals 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. So my midpoint, I'm going to write it over here. So my midpoint is negative 2, negative 2. We're off the page. So negative 2, comma, negative 2. I hope you guys followed that. If you have any questions, do send me a message or ask me in class. The other side is going to work the same way. So we have Q and S. R is the midpoint. So R is your MX, MY. S, sorry for the camera difficulties, I swear. We got to hire better people, y'all. All right, so your 12 and 4, that's your X1, X2. This is your MX, MY. We're looking for X1, X2. So it's exactly the same as this. If you want to draw it out, put in your points, plug it in, and let me know how you do. I'm going to flip over. Back of the page. Now this is where things get a little bit easier, actually. So it says find the measure of AC if B is the midpoint. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if B is the midpoint, that means that AB is congruent to BC, right? Because it cuts it into 2 equal pieces. So this side and this side are congruent. Am I right or am I right? Well, I'm right. Okay. Same thing over here. Well, that's y'all's problem. I did this in class. So just know this is going to be set up the same way. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so over here, if AB is congruent to BC, then that means 5x minus 3 is equal to 2x plus 9. 2 is bigger than 5, so I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides because I want x by itself. These cancel. 5 minus 2x is 3x. Minus 3 comes down, equal sign, and then we have a positive 9. All right, I'm going to start it here and bring it up there. So we want 3x by itself. We're going to add 3. Add 3. 9 plus 3 is 12. 3's cancel. So 3x is equal to 12. We divide both sides by 3 because we want x by itself. X equals 4. All right, well, they wanted find the measure of AC. So they want the whole thing. So we have two options. Excuse me. We can either plug in x to both of these and just add it all together, or you can do it for either side because they're congruent and then multiply that by 2. But let's just do it. Excuse me. Sorry. Hang on. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. So 5x minus 3 plus 2x plus 9. Underneath, we're going to plug in x is 4 because that's what we found. So 5 times 4 minus 3 plus 2 times 4, that was x, plus 9. Sorry, I'm trying to get the camera to cooperate, please. This is ridiculous. I apologize, guys. I really do. Quit being silly, man. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to take this over here and say 5 times 4 is 20, minus 3, plus 2 times 4 is 8, plus 9. This is 17, plus this is 17. So remember, each side was 17. And then 17 plus 17 means that AC equals 34. I hope I didn't lose you in that. But I plugged in 4 because x was 4. I plugged it in and then I brought it up here. So 5 times 4 is 20 minus 3. Here's the plus. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 9 plus 9. 20 minus 3. So this side 17. 8 plus 9. That's 17 also. So that means this side 17, that side 17. If they wanted the whole thing, 17 plus 17 equals 34. At the bottom. All right, no. So over here, set up the same way. They're congruent, so this is equal to that. Solve for M, And then if you want, do it like I did here, or either plug it into one side and multiply that by 2. So it's totally up to you. All right, so we got a construction down here. They're talking about bisecting a segment. They have a reflective device. We don't have that. I didn't bring my compass home, but the idea is you're going to set your needle here and your pencil here. But so we did like this for a congruent line. Now to find one that bisects, we're going to go a little over halfway. We would turn and it would put us, let's see, it would put us somewhere up here and somewhere down here. And then we would do the same and we would end up somewhere down here. And then when we, it's not quite in half because again, I didn't measure that. That's the point. Excuse me. Sorry. All right, so number 3 says this: when constructing a line segment bisector using a compass, why is it important to draw arcs for both endpoints on the segment without adjusting the compass width? Answer I've already marked. So it's to measure the exact length of the segment before drawing the bisector, because you need to make sure you have a measurement of this before you try to bisect it. Because if you don't have an exact measurement, you won't have an exact, or it won't be bisected correctly. So we have practice here. You guys, we've done that separately or in class. Just see me. I will have worksheets that will include what you guys need for that. At the summary for the bottom. So let me flip over. All right, so the summary: midpoint separates segment into 2 segments with a ratio of, hopefully you remembered, 1:1. And then how could you use the section, and it's actually partition formula, to derive the midpoint? So for the partition, under the parenthesis, I'm sorry, on the bottom of the fraction it's m plus n. For the midpoint, because the ratio is 1:1, it ends up being 2. So that's how you can use that to derive it. About the best I can come up with. All right, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Until next time, have a great night.